I'd like to make excuses for how I got here. I'd like to say, it's society's fault that I didn't have any role models to speak of, that we live in an isolated post-COVID society and it's so hard to find people to connect with, and that's part of how I've ended up so twisted. I'd like to say that, but I think we all know that I'm the problem here. Surprise! Hey folks, so many of you have been so supportive of me in trying to figure out what is going on with my knitting that I thought I would treat you all to a little bit of a midweek surprise and share what in fact has been going on with my knitting and how I got here, why all of my stitches are twisted, and what I'm doing to fix it. So I thought we could do a little bit of a midweek knit and chat. Today I am working on the anniversary blanket that I've been working on for my husband. I've been working on sort of an end-to-end video about this, so I haven't talked about it much on the channel. But again, since I'm doing this as a way to thank all of you for all of your help and support, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a sneak peek. So this is where we're at so far. It's going okay. I think it's going pretty well. And since the last time I showed this on the channel, a lot of you were like, that's not intarsia. Let me show you the ends. So this is what makes it intarsia. Like I do have this border over here. I can show you the back of the blanket. You can see telltale intarsia. This is where, for the most part, things have been woven in. I'm getting lazy up here with the weaving in, and I'm gonna have to get to that eventually. Considering the fact that my anniversary with my husband is coming up sooner than I would like, based on the progress that I've made on this blanket, it seemed like that would be a good thing for me to work on while we chat today. So for a little bit of a background, I am mostly a self-taught knitter. At some point in Denmark, somebody that I work with was into knitting and got me into knitting as well. And I knit a bunch of skinny, short garter stitch scarves. That was all I really did. I think maybe at one point I did a hat in the round, but I never really moved past that. I just really liked buying yarn. Surprise, some things never change. But the weirdest thing about it is that for the life of me, I remember some of the conversations I had with this person who taught me how to knit. I'm like, oh, somebody, when I was knitting, told me that variegated yarn could stripe in weird ways, depending on the width of the row. But I don't remember who it was. I don't remember who, and I'm not really in contact with a lot of the people that I knew in Denmark anymore. So I'll never really know who initially taught me how to knit. But that was, I think, 2017, 2018. I moved to the UK in spring of 2018. Sort of never really put down knitting as part of the whole moving. I gotta tell you, moving from Denmark to the UK pre-Brexit as an American was not easy, because you could not get an embassy appointment to get all of your biometric data taken for your visa to the UK, because people in Denmark didn't need to get visas to the UK. So my entire family had to go to San Francisco with me when I was going there for a work conference. And we spent the whole week, 4 of us, in one hotel room. Well, 2 weeks, I think. We were there for 2 weeks in one hotel room so that we could get all of our biometric data taken and get our visas finalized. And then we went from Denmark to San Francisco for this conference and to get our visa stuff. And then from San Francisco, we went directly to London. So it was hectic, to say the least. And one of the things that is really interesting when it comes to habit forming is that moving is one of those times in which it is the easiest to break old habits and start new habits, because everything in your life and everything in your routine is changing anyway. And so I very much got out of the habit of knitting. It was springtime, I was in a new country, all of my knitting stuff had been packed up, and I had just sort of forgot that I ever knitted. So fast forward to 2024, my husband and I go on a road trip with a couple of our very dear friends, one of whom is an avid knitter. She wants to go into an amazing yarn store when we're in Dublin. I start looking at yarn again and I get the bug. And so she teaches me how to purl, which is not a thing I had ever done before. And, you know, I do some knitting on that trip, but not a ton. And it mostly consists of me trying to knit and her fixing my mistakes. So I got a couple days, I think, of hands-on knitting experience with somebody there who knew what they were doing. So then I got home and I wanted to keep knitting. And so from there, it was really about whatever I found on the internet and however I remembered or misremembered the tips that Kate gave me. So I finished my first knit flat piece and seamed sweater for my kid Aspen. And it turned out great. It had a garter stitch border, mostly with stockinette. I definitely messed up the increases and so it had a little bit of a wider neck, but Aspen really likes wide necks anyway, so it all worked out well. So then I wanted to start a pattern I've been obsessed with since basically when I started knitting again, called The Obsidian by Lisa Much. And no matter how I tried to join in the round, my stitches were always twisted in a really weird way. And I couldn't figure it out. I had video calls with Kate. She couldn't figure out what I was doing, how it was happening. And then at some point, I made some sort of comment that made her understand that I was knitting all of my knit stitches through the back loop, which was never an issue when I was doing a garment that was pieced and seamed. But in the round meant that all of my stitches were getting twisted in really weird ways and was screwing up my join in the round. So I had to sort of reteach myself the muscle memory of how to knit through the front loop, which I couldn't really figure out how to do. It took a little trial and error, but now I'm pretty good at it. So I was like, okay, great. I figured this out. Everything's going well. I can knit in the round now, made some sweaters. They turned out really well. But there's always something really weird when I go from knitting in the round to knitting flat or vice versa. And, you know, everything that I've seen online says that that's a problem that almost everybody has, that it's usually like a tension issue or something like that. So I tried to figure out how to fix it and, you know, was trying my best, whatever. And I didn't think much of it. I was just like, my stitches get weird when I'm not knitting in the round, but stitches get weird for everybody when they're not knitting in the round, right? Then I started this YouTube channel. I take criticism very well, and the name of this channel is Good Yarn Bad Knits. I know I'm not a good knitter. And so it didn't hurt my feelings when everybody pointed out that all of my stitches were twisted. I just felt very confused because I was like, yeah, my stitches used to be twisted. And frankly, I feel like everything turned out way better before I started knitting the way I'm supposed to knit. But I couldn't knit, except for, you know, I couldn't knit in the round. And I want to make sweaters, so that's a no-go. But why does everybody keep saying my stitches are twisted? I've done everything I can to stop twisting my stitches. Like, I learned how to knit the right way. And why is everybody, you know, I thought this was just how it looked. I thought it was the yarn. What am I doing wrong? And I just kept being like, oh, I must have screwed up somewhere on this. Like, it's just this project. Maybe I twisted a couple stitches. I'm sure it's fine. Or they just don't understand that this yarn barber poles, whatever. I owe all of you so much of an apology for that. And then it was a recent comment on a community post where I posted the finished scarf that I made for my niece. This one. Where someone so kindly said, I'm going to assume that you twisted all of the stitches in the scarf on purpose. It's beautiful. And I don't know, people had been telling me that I'd been twisting my stitches for a really long time, basically since I started getting views on my little YouTube channel. And I don't know what it was about the kindness in that sort of led me to having a mentee bee. Like, I was just like, oh, okay. I can't possibly, I am just going to take a slow motion video of me purling so that everybody can see. And if I'm doing something wrong, somebody can tell me. I have to continue purling the way that I normally do on this because I've been working on it for so long and I don't want to change the way that the blanket looks. But I will get up close and personal with you now. So go through, down, around, voila. Do it again. This is the way I've always purled. Down, around, voila. Turns out I'm twisting my purl stitches. Yeah, apparently you're not supposed to purl clockwise. Like the yarn's not supposed to go, it's supposed to go counterclockwise. I'm sure Kate explained this to me. I'm sure she taught me how to purl the right way, because when I told Kate that I've been doing this the entire time, the look on her face very much told me that that was not the way that she taught me. I think at some point I just started doing it. Here's the real mystery. I don't remember who taught me how to knit. I don't remember what I was taught. Throwing feels much more natural to me than continental. So I must have been taught by a thrower. But was I taught by a combination knitter? Was it that Kate's tutelage did not stick in my head because I had some secret training in my earlier knitting days where I was taught by a combination knitter, and so without her influence, I just reverted back to combination knitting? Did I independently invent combination knitting for efficiency's sake, even though I had no idea how knitting worked? Or two wrongs really just make a right for the longest time? I don't know. But here's the thing. Now I know what I've been doing wrong. So maybe this is the end of me accidentally twisting my stitches. For my sister-in-law, I've been working on the Soulless Scarf by Becky Bigel. And I'm sure some of these stitches are twisted, but there's some stockinette in there, right? Am I doing okay? Is this better? Please let me know. My family's dying. Well, no, my family's fine. I just feel like I want to get to the bottom of this. I want to be able to knit like normal people knit. And, maybe I'll go back to combination knitting now that I know that the way that I was knitting before I tried to knit the right way was right. But, I need to know how to knit through the front loop and how to purl without twisting. Particularly, I guess, when I'm knitting in the round. And so I really want to make sure that I get those skills. And I need to practice both, I guess. But it's just so funny because this means I've been twisting my purls for almost 2 years. And I had no idea. And I never would have known. I never would have known if it weren't for this YouTube channel. Like if it weren't for all of you, and if it weren't for me and my complete lack of shame showing off the projects that I'm working on, and all of you coming to the comments to tell me that I'm twisting my stitches, I never would have known. And I don't know, I'm just really grateful to all of you. And I'm really excited for all of us to find out the ways in which I'm screwing up my knitting together in the future. So if you want to be part of the sleuths who help me become a better knitter and hopefully a better person, please do consider subscribing to this channel. I do a lot of weird different things. I think I put in my channel bio that I am stumbling my way through my projects with poor motor skills and a can-do attitude. And that's very much what I'm trying to stick to. So if that sounds exciting to you, sometimes I'm out and about in London finding new places to knit or traveling and knitting. There's a little bit of video game content too, since I make video games. I don't know, I'm just kind of a weird person. And my goal with this channel is to make content that is about knitting, but also that is just content that's fun to watch while you're knitting is really what I'm going for, because that's what I'm always looking for when I'm on YouTube. And I'm just really grateful for all of you. And I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm so glad that you're so patient with me. It is so surprising to me that so many people who are so good at knitting are remotely interested in what I have to say about this hobby. And it just really warms my heart. I don't have a knitting community. I've spoken to 2 people who know how to knit this year, my friend Kate and the woman at Loop Yarns in Camden Passage here in London. And that's it. Like, I don't really talk shop with a bunch of knitters. And so all of you are my knitting community, and I'm just incredibly grateful for that. So I hope you're having a great day, and I hope tomorrow is even better than today is, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.